Children's titles, we manage a few literary estates. For the last 3 years, we have over 130 titles in the works for 25 languages in translation. We love the fact that we managed to create sustainable partnerships with publishers from Italy, Spain, France, Germany, the English-speaking world, but also we struggle with linguistic colonialism and focus on languages like Arabic, Farsi. We just had a casual conversation about that. Something very difficult for me was to start working in a more sustainable way with the neighboring countries, and I would love to continue talking about that because I think that we have the problem that we...
Yeah, actually that's one of the reasons we are all here today.
I kind of noticed, I kind of came to this conclusion because we don't like publishing each other, and I have a theory about that, but I'm not going to go into so many details. And I'm also the proud coordinator and organizer of this year's second edition of Fellowship, Sofia International Literary Fellowship, which we did within the Christmas Book Fair in Sofia, the international book fair, the only one we have in December. So we believe this works for us. I can keep talking for the next 45 minutes, but I'm not going to do it because I believe that my colleagues have a lot to share as well, and they're all brilliant. Thank you for having me here. This is a joy, an honor, and thank you for being with us, for waking up early in the morning to be with us. So I'm gonna give the floor.
How many literary agents in Bulgaria? Only you, good. So we have one agent in Lithuania, one agent in Bulgaria. We have all the agents here, right?
And too many agents in Romania.
We're lucky to have 4 agents in Romania. 3 of them are at the festival. 3 of them in this.
Sorry, but what about Anna, Sofia? It's not.
But Anna is doing the opposite thing too. I'm selling Bulgarian titles, and she's co-agenting for the local market.
Yeah. Sorry, I did not attend from the
We clarified this, so our first literary agent.
Actually, the newest literary agent.
First speaker.
And the only male literary agent in Romania.
In the world, apparently.
Among few in the world. My name is Silviu Sandulescu, and I own Rights Expert, licensing a literary agency. I started in publishing more than 20 years ago, which is a lot. I have experience both as a publisher. Actually, I worked in a very well-known publishing house in Romania. After that, I developed a career in licensing for consumer product goods, but also with a strong publishing part of the business. And after knowing all the lies in the industries, I thought it is the right time to start my own line machine company, you know. So basically to start my own agency. Starting 2017, which seems a lot, and it is a lot. It is quite a journey. Basically, as we discussed, opening my agency caused me to start smoking again. So basically, this is not this is not easy to manage something like that, but it's a lot of passion and a lot of fun to do this. And okay, I'm specialized in children's books mainly, 0 to 12. Mainly pictures book, but not just pictures book. I do also fiction and non-fiction. So yeah, I'm searching for creative and flexible authors / publishers, and yeah, I'm crazy enough to believe that we can also export rights, not just import rights.
Excellent.
But
Welcome
believe
to
me,
the
it's not
club.
easy, and we'll discuss about this.
Hello, my name is Tamara, And I would like also to thank Liv for inviting me. Yes, because it's really nice to be here in Brasov and be a part of a first Node festival. So that's a privilege. As a privilege, not easy, but as a privilege to live and be with the books in your life, even in a 21st century, that with all opportunities in the world and quite different than the position of the book and writers was in 20th century. And I am editor in a publishing house, Bloom, from Belgrade, from Serbia. And from our name, you can maybe suggest that that is the surname of the main character of Ulysses, of James Joyce, Leopold Bloom. And that means that we started, when we found our publishing house in 2018, to just to find a way to be with the legacy of 20th century literature and to find something more and quite different in this, our century. So we always believe that we want to publish books that we want to read, to reopen a new way for the publishing, to create one world of the new voices from the Europe and from the world, and also to find the new voices and something really good in a language, in a topics, in a way of writing and produce books with no matter of ages of writers, and to find the new voices of Serbian writers, but not only local, then not only local for the names or for the language, to be global with the topics and with the books they write. So this is the first lay of our publishing house.
Thank you, Tamara. How many agents in Serbia?
Well, no, we don't have agencies in Serbia.
0 agents.
Zero agencies, because we don't have a really good law about rights, and the writers is some writers is yes, with a publishing house, and translation goes to the publishing house or by their own way to find some translators or some agency, yes, from the other countries. For example, we have a collaboration with our agency, Livia Stoia, for our Aleksandar Shrbatovic, 1 hour author from Serbia.
Good, so we're lucky to have 4. And
Yes.
the second one is here with
Yes,
us.
of course.
Thank you, Tamara.
May I ask something? Sorry. What
Yes.
about the Prava?
Oh, it's the same like Anna.
I don't think so.
Our audience knows everything about you.
Anna Sofia is the
Anna? Can you repeat the question?
Yes,
Prava i
Prava i
prevodi.
prevodi.
Prava i prevodi, but that agency is not for our writers, from the writers from Serbia. It's for the foreign rights and for the.
They're buying rights,
Yes,
Just
basically.
importing rights, not selling.
Not selling, yes.
They are co-agents.
Yes, we started something now, but it's on yes, tech times and at the beginning.
Waiting for the great news.
Yes.
I'm Livia Stoia. I'm running Livia Stoia Literary Agency based in Romania. I started the agency in 2003, in December 2003, after working for a few years at Humanitas Publishing House. I started representing Western publishers, so as a co-agent for Western publishers and agencies in Romania. And then with the crisis in 2008-2010, I expanded in step by step in all East European countries, including in Serbia. Serbia was my first country where I expanded my co-agency business. So I'm selling rights from the Western countries in all East European countries, as well as Romanian authors in worldwide. In 2020, I acquired a Spanish agency in order to expand in the Spanish-speaking world and Portuguese-speaking world. So now we are co-agenting for many Western agencies and publishing houses into all East European countries, plus Spain, Portugal, Latin America. And we have a very strong, for the past 2-3 years, we have a very strong Romanian authors catalog, which we represent worldwide. Briefly.
Great. All nice and fun, but sincerely, as Gergana previously noticed, we all have the same problem. We are a small literature trying to sell small authors, small as in numbers, yeah. And I really want to talk to you about the struggle. What are the challenges you are facing, and maybe some solutions? Which one do you want to start?
So I guess the more obvious challenges are, the market is oversaturated. There are a lot of books, a lot of good books, and the other challenge related to that is the lack of visibility. So when there are so many good books and you as a small language nation, you have to elbow your way into the conversation. And you have to prove to people that your authors are, worthy of the publisher's time. I think that's, these are the most obvious challenges. But the other thing that I think about is how, even if you meet with a publisher and you tell them about your own author, and usually our authors, they write about specific places that for Western publishers are exotic, bizarre, and all of that. And one of the main worries of these publishers is that the books might be too niche because they have such a strong sense of place, which is a valid concern, absolutely. But I think the way to avoid this, like this challenge, how to solve it, at our publishing house, the kinds of authors, Lithuanian authors that we publish, of course, their writing is based on a place. But at the same time, these authors, Lithuanian authors that we choose, they also engage in a kind of like conversation, broader conversation with the European tradition, writing tradition in general. A good example that doesn't come from Lithuania, but from Poland is, I think, Olga Tokarczuk. And the reason why she, at least that's what I think, the reason why she's so successful and she's so, widely translated is that, sure, her writing is based on a place, like the novel Drive Your Plow Through the Bones of the Dead, right? It's about this lady who lives somewhere in the countryside, in the woods. So it's very, very niche and local, but this lady, what she does is she translates William Blake. So she's in conversation with the bigger, wider Western European tradition. And I think that that's one good solution, how to avoid this trap of a place. So the writers, the Lithuanian writers that we choose to represent, that we choose to publish, we look for them to have this confidence that they, with their novels, with their work, they are participating in this history of ideas, and not necessarily just talking about the history of the region, the history of the nation and all of that. So I don't know. There's that.
We also have a success story in Bulgaria with Georgi Gospodinov. Okay, how can you manage this challenge yourself, selling your authors, other than Gospodinov himself?
I hope we have 3 or 4 hours for this conversation left. I was thinking about about discussing this historically, maybe because we all come from regions where in the 19th, after the end of the communist era, what happened in our market, and I believe this is a very similar story for all of the people we have on stage, was that we needed to catch up in the 90s in many aspects. In terms of translated titles, we didn't have access to, due to many reasons. But also it was a time for contemporary Bulgarian literature back then. It was a time of experiment, linguistic experiment, a lot of vulgarisms, which kind of brought texts into lacking good literary features. Because and in theater, I remember I was a kid and we would go to the theater and the actors would run naked on stage because it's like, what's happening? We would watch Hamlet put on stage and the actors would dance naked. You know? And it wasn't a very successful approach, but we used to do it just because we weren't allowed to do it until then. So then we started observing at the beginning of the current century, the century we're living in now, a little bit of starting to settle literary traditions. So we had new voices, sustainably published authors like Gospodinov. They kind of gave up on the experiment with language, with all kind of stylistic devices. So I think then we could start talking about established tradition in new writing, new literary writing. The problem, however, is that in communist era, we had very strong translation schools, translator schools, and little by little this thing dropped off. So now, as we have a wave of great Bulgarian literary voices, we don't have those translators available anymore. So we used to tutor them back then, so that literature could be exported into many foreign languages. But now that we can export it again, we have one person in France, one person who is in Bulgaria but can translate good literary text in Arabic, one person for Farsi. In many big markets, we have huge gap to be filled with the translators, and this is one of the biggest challenges I've been facing, because if you want to have more than 1 or 2 novels translated in a big, I'm sorry for this, big language, like Spanish or German. With Germany, this is not exactly the case, that's not a good example, but there are not that many people, and if you want to translate 8 novels per year, a translator can process 1 or 2 big texts, not more than this. What we do. So how we handle this situation, we have residencies, we have scouting residencies in Sofia. There is an organization called Sofia Literature and Translation House, Next Page Foundation, and they're doing a lot of residencies and literary scouting, so if you want to check them online. Okay. It's a good place to land in Sofia. Also, we have Elizabeth Kostova Foundation. Elizabeth Kostova is an American writer, and they've been doing a great job to promote Bulgarian literature in the English-speaking market. And as we know, we have only 3 to 5% of translated titles there, which is it's a very difficult. They don't want us. they just don't want us, which is also a problem with the German market, by the way, a lot. But to wrap it up, so one big issue is the translators we are missing now, this year in 2025. Another thing is that I think that if we talk about our region, Eastern Europe, the Balkans, publishers from all over the world weren't curious enough. The International Booker Prize brought a lot of curiosity. That was great. It was a huge breakthrough. We were on cloud 9, but the question is what we're doing afterwards, because someone needs to keep it up, keep the level, make it continuous, and keep the conversation, because this is one person. What do we have any more? Is it worth paying attention to the region, to Eastern Europe, to the Balkans? I think that before the last decade, no one actually believed that we have good voices to be published, translated, invited internationally. It's still difficult to persuade publishers, very difficult, because if it's a new voice, is he going to make a literary career? If it's a well-established voice, it's difficult sometimes. We face a lot of issues. Agents face a lot of issues, and with the authors, the translator, bridging the gaps in the ecosystem, the favorite cliche. And in this region, it's still a problem that we don't have this tradition developed. I was thinking why we needed co-agenting, sub-agenting organizations to be established. Something was wrong with those markets, if we needed them. Someone was not sending accounts, royalty reports probably. So American publishers, Mexican publishers, UK publishers needed local people to keep an eye on, maybe on sales, on what the publishers were doing. So I think we still have a lot to learn here.
I'm gonna skip you and go to Tamara, because I was wondering about the region. So we have their style and globalizing themes. We have translations. Are things going on in Serbia in terms of solutions of selling your authors?
Well, Bloom Publishing House, we made some agreement with the University of Belgrade and with the Cathedrals for Languages, and to support young students, to support for translation, and to be important in publishing houses, and to be important in publishing stuff, like a publishing staff, and to work with us. But it's really interesting, because if you want to bring some new voices or something, you don't have nothing with our state or with our Ministry of Culture or anything, but we go through the grants. And for example, like Creative Europe, that's the really good start for try to find some new voices and some other voices from the region and from the world, particularly from the small languages. And that was opportunity for us to publish some Bulgarian and some Romanian writers. And it's if we talk about our region and about Romania and Bulgaria, it's really nice, because we have a Romanian minority in Serbia, and they are really like Bulgarian, and they are really want to hear something new and something quite different and something new from Romania or Bulgaria. For example, we published Teodorovici, the novel Matei Brunul, and from Bulgarian language we published Jana Bukova, and she's really interesting writer, because she has some dialogue in her books with some Serbian writers, as Milorad Pavic, as Goran Petrovic. That's I think really recognizable voices from Serbia. And on another way, Matei Brunel is one story that really can comparative with our state, with the Serbia, with history times through the 20th century. But I want to tell you that it's really easier if you talk about other arts, and if you talk about movies, or if you talk about music. It's really easier to find a way and to catch up the voices and the names and everything. And now in Serbia we always talking about Romanian movies, and we like really a lot of Romanian authors. On the other side, if we talk about writers, now it's really Cătărescu is one of the Romanian voices that is present in Serbia, and the Serbian writers like to read Cătărescu as Gospodino, but also Ale Popov is really popular in Serbia as an author. But there is something really interesting also if you go ahead and if you go in Europe and on the West. They want from us some historical stories. They want from us some typical story from the region about history, about trauma, about wars, totalitarianism, about communism and everything. And I wonder always, but why we don't also speak and write about contemporary times, about everyday life?
We do have the same problem
Yes,
in Romania,
yes.
actually.
I think it's all over the region. It's a problem because we know to speak. We know to involve something that is universal theme from the beginning of the literature and everything, and that it's also war and peace, but love and hate, about humanity and about every problem in contemporary world that we solve with it every day in our every life. And that is my question always. So why we cannot also talk about star, moons, and love and hate?
We're starting to do it. Silviu, I didn't mean to be rude.
No,
I just wanted a more regional approach.
Exactly. I totally understand. So
And you also have a really easy mission. You're selling children's books.
Exactly. It seems very, very easy, but it's it's not, believe me. Talking about the struggles, of course, we are competing with literally everybody in the world. I mean, every person attending Bologna or Frankfurt can testify that when you came in those huge halls, you just are overwhelmed by the amount of the titles, good-looking titles. You are tempted to buy, to see, to view, and stuff. So from this point of view, it is really challenging to try to place your own titles in this market, in this global market. But okay, we are crazy enough to try to do it. So I think okay, it's a matter of first of all of changing our mentalities, because we were very used to import things. Basically, this was one of my main triggers. All of my career, I was importing things. I mean, okay, when I was at the Niculescu Publishing House, 95 of the titles published were imported rights. At the European Licensing Company, I was representing Warner Bros. Cartoon Network, Real Madrid, FC Barcelona. So basically, all the big boys in the industry. So, okay, and I think one of the things that triggered me was I think in the first Frankfurt as an agent, when I had a meeting with a boy, I mean a young man, to present me literally 3 sheets of paper with 2 covers and 2 or 3 interior pages. He was a UK wannabe publisher, and his mindset was that although he didn't still have the publishing house in place, he was at the biggest book fair in the world trying to already sell the rights of some books unborn yet. And I was, okay, so if a young man from UK can do this without having any problem, why we shouldn't do this? I mean, and it is a matter of courage and consistency. You have to do it step by step. You have to be prepared to take a lot of rejects. Don't take it personally. This is very, very struggling. I mean, first when somebody is telling you, I don't like this, I don't like that, you think that you are doing something wrong. Probably you do something wrong, but not always. And it is a matter of trying to stay consistent, trying to stay in the game, because otherwise it's crazy. It's crazy because you cannot survive. This is one thing. So change the mentality, be more courageous, stay in the game, and develop your network. Networking is crucial. Networking is crucial. I mean, we all know, I mean, and every book fair, fellowship, you name it, the after party is sometimes much more interesting, because you have the chance to develop real connections with people in the industry, and it is important to have this kind of friends in the industry. And another thing you should try to do it is to start alliance, to start finding friends in other regions, territories, because it's obviously you cannot be in every part of the world in the same time. So start develop friendships, develop your network and alliance. Not like NATO for books, you know, something like that.
Gergana seems to love it, yeah. I told you that you always do the easy part. You're leaving the hard part to Livia.
Exactly.
Also, if you have questions, just feel free to address them right after Livia, okay? Thank you.
One of the problems I'm confronting with when selling translation rights for Romanian authors is the lack of full translations or English translations of the original Romanian manuscript. We do have English excerpts, but in order to convince a publisher to read, to spend more time on that title, we need full English translations. Even longer excerpts, like 50, 80, 100 pages, like for instance the Norwegian publishers or agents can provide to foreign publishers. So this is one problem we have, and the authors that we represent cannot afford the agency either, the cost to pay a translator from Romanian into other language for a full English translation. And I say English because everyone in the rights business read and speak English, and in order to make a decision if to move forward with a title, it's essential to read English, to read in English. This is one problem that we have. So we pitch Romanian authors to foreign publishers, and we try to collaborate in parallel with translators from Romanian living in that particular country where we pitch the author, in order to, as you said and all of you said, networking is very important, in order to be able to provide in time all the information about that book and about the author, about press reviews, prices, and the quality of the text and of the subject, together with a translator. It's a it's a common effort. Someone was once saying that it takes a village, an entire village, to and to manage to sell a Romanian East European author to the Western world. So this is the main problem I have. So basically, it's the language problem, and we don't have too much support from the government. Recently, in the past couple of years, the representatives of the Ministry of Culture were very helpful, and we collaborate very well with them. They agree. Me and my colleagues have the meetings in the Romanian stand at big book fairs, which is very important for us because we don't have to spend too much money taking a table in the agent center or building up a stand. It's extremely expensive. So for the Ministry of Culture, it's very important for us that we bring foreign partners into the Romanian stand at the big international book fairs. And for us, it's very important to have a elegant space to invite foreign publishers and translators and our foreign friends in order to pitch Romanian authors. In parallel, the Romanian Cultural Institute in the past couple of years were more helpful, supporting us at least, I don't know, agreeing like the Ministry of Culture to agreeing for us to meet people in the London Book Fair stand where the Cultural Institute organizes the Romanian stand. So both institutions helped as much as they could in the past years, though we would need more support, financial support, in order, because selling Romanian authors, it's not rewarding, it's just a pure passion.
Exactly.
That's rewarding enough, I guess.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes, but yeah, we work a lot. 99% of our work in our agency is co-agenting for Western publishers in order to have money to be able to present Romanian authors. And it takes, this is another problem, it takes much more time to sell a Romanian author than to sell a Western, anything else into Romania and East European market. And there's another problem, a big one I'm confronting with, the lack of patience from the authors. The authors call and write and are very angry sometimes that nothing new, nothing happens. No news means it's good news. And it's very hard to I mean, it's very time consuming and disappointing to tell them over and over again about our work. They don't understand why I sold one author and not that author, because that author is really not so good. Well, I understand, the topic is okay, but not so good. It's a debutant. He has or she has to learn more in order to write like I'm writing. So it's really very, very disappointing. I try not to suffer too much.
Well, on the other hand, this lack of passion is completely understandable. I mean, it's their work, it's their passion, and they have the right to be in front of their audience. So,
Yes,
but we will find some solutions for that as well. We have a question there, right?
Yes. In fact, it's not a question. I would like to add something to what my colleague from Serbia said. Sorry. I am from the Corin Publishing House. Yes, thank you. My voice is not very. Good morning. I am Medea. I'm from Corinth Publishing House from Romania, and I'm responsible with the foreign rights. And I don't have a question. I would like to add something to what my colleague from Serbia said. 2 years ago, we decided to publish in Romania a book written by a Serbian writer, Milorad Pavic. We published the book Paper Theater, and it was very difficult to find who owns the rights, because in Serbia there is no literary agency, and it was a real challenge for me to find the rights holder. And finally we found the widow of the writer who helped us. But it was a real challenge to find the...
You should have asked.
Okay. Next time I will. But it was a real challenge for me, and it was very, very interesting to find. And we published the book, and we hope to publish more in the future from Serbian books written by the Serbian or Bulgarian writers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, and now you know that Livia is the right address, but also you can always speak with me. I will give you my email, because I'm editor, but I'm also a critic, and I write reviews, and I read a lot of book of the other authors, not only Serbian, but from the Europe. So I can do something for you if you want.
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome.
But let's give her the floor, please.
Sorry.
Because the mic is with her.
So I'm Mariana Iova, I'm a literary agent, but this is not important. I wanted. No, it's not important for your discussions because I'm a co-agent. I wanted to ask you, when you managed to sell rights, if the payment has been made by support from the government or by the publishing house. And the second question, also for everybody, when you manage to sell rights for a Romanian author, for a Bulgarian author, if the payment that you receive, so without giving any numbers, but just to compare with what you pay when you buy a German, French, English license, so just an idea.
You mean if the advance payments for local authors
Yes,
are low?
exactly.
Good question. Then can I because things are related, I think. I wanted to comment on what Tamara said with cliches that we are expected to deliver, and comment the same topics like growing up in the 90s was difficult. The early years of communism were very poor. We had censorship, really, And I mean, we are when I meet a publisher, sometimes I have the feeling that I'm expected to produce that cliche, and our readership, I think, is already tired of reading those plots and those complaints reworked. When I started, I was thinking, do I need to work with universal stories, universal voices? And then I came to the conclusion that there is no such thing as a universal story, universal voice. Everything is locally unique in terms of the fact that it's an undiscovered globally voice, but as long as it's a good story and it's well written and it's with good language, it's written with good language and it's good fiction,
Then it's universal.
then it's universal, but it's local, but it's universal. I think it's an issue for all of us, the financial part of that job. We need good institutional support, which means on the one hand what Livia was talking about, having national stands, and we were working a lot throughout the last years to convince our Ministry of Culture and the Book Association that we should have those stands every year in London, in Frankfurt, in Bologna, not only. Maybe it's a good idea to have the local fairs as well, little by little, with guest of honor or a nation. For example, Romania always has the stand at the Christmas book fair in Sofia, the international one. Alex Popescu is always coming to that book fair, and we have to think about that also with Turkey, Slovenia. Slovenia has a very good model of, they have a book authority, and it's they are a small team, but they're doing miracles. And it's the presence, like with a small book stand. On the other hand, it's the grants. The first question I get when I meet a publisher, do you have good grants? Are they functioning well? So if it's a program easily accessible, I'm not talking about giving millions of euros for translations, but just a tiny, well-functioning program, like the Traduki network, like DEDA in Turkey. The Turkish people have realized a long time ago that literature and culture and tourism are tightly related. And if you look at their stands at international book fairs, they're always funded by the Ministry of Tourism. Guess why? Because when you promote your national literature in a honorable way, this also influences your tourism. It arouses the curiosity for tourists, so those things are tightly related. As for the money, if you have good grants, well, yes, I think that regionally our writers are underestimated. On the other hand, you can't expect to make millions. I mean,
not millions, but not to be 100 times lower, or 10 times lower. I mean,
we're fighting. We're fighting. It's a struggle, but for now, I can't complain. I think they've been paid due respect. The commissions are low, but you can't take half of the advance payment and say, I'm working hard, give me half of your money. You're talented, but I need half of your money. It's complicated. You need to find resources of funding. And just 1 minute. I think that co-agents are underestimating their work. Since I found a few co-agenting partnerships, my life has been so much easier. So don't underestimate what you've been doing for a very long time, because it's about the network. Exactly. The network, creating literary trust, talking about those titles, those writers. So you've been doing a great job with the co-agenting, and you've built a solid base with that. So thank you.
Would you like to say something?
Money. Okay. Yeah, cliches. I suppose we are quite lucky with the support that we have from the Lithuanian Cultural Institute. Although, like for translation grants and all of that, so those are always quite supported. They do cover the entirety of the translation expenses and all of that. But I keep thinking about participations like in bigger fairs and everything, where money is needed there as well, to have a bigger stand, a flashier sign and all of that. And this costs money, but this can be quite frustrating. To convince the national government that it is in the country's interest to actually invest a lot of money to have a bigger, flashier stand. Because I really liked what Silviu said, that one of the first times that I went to Frankfurt, I absolutely got overwhelmed, because there are these huge halls and beautiful stands, like everything seems to be shiny and pretty, and there you are with your tiny catalog and a small chair, and like, yeah, so we write books about, of course, historical trauma and all of that. So yeah, I do get the sense that it can get very frustrating to convince people, your own people, that it is in their interest to invest money in things like representation and all of that. But in terms of like investment for translation, so I believe that we do have that quite covered. Although of course the issue is to find the translators, but Gergana covered that. So, no, it's a worldwide problem, at least for our region, when our languages are so small. And I do sometimes get the suggestion coming from publishers that they say, okay, we can use English as a bridging language, right? And we are very much against that at the publishing house. It's a different story maybe for children's books, where, you know, the graphic element is much more important than the text in many cases, whereas with literary fiction, the text is no longer the same when you work with a sort of like bridging language. So I don't know, I just talked about many different and difficult things.
In terms of children's books, we have two places where we are rejected, in text and in images.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Double
it's
rejection.
a double problem, really.
I mean, the graphic elements, the graphic traditions, for some publishers, for example, when I try to sell children's books, Lithuanian children's books, so for some publishers, our way of drawing is maybe a bit too traditional, they say. And which is very strange, because the children's books that we have in Lithuania, they are hugely popular, like this traditional kind of way of drawing, but also these traditional moral tales that teach you something. So it's strange how these stories do well regionally, but for Westerners, for example, that's already kind of like, oh, this is old stuff. I need some crazy characters. I don't know, have you ever seen in Frankfurt and in London, there's this Japanese stand where they have a character, a children's character called Detective Butt. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a character that's basically a human bum, and the bum solves detective stories. So it sounds very fun and crazy, but I can't compare with that. I have tales of how to be good to one another, how to do that, and not fancy adventurous books. So yeah.
Please. Talking about financing, this will come like a shock, but I hate grants. Actually, I don't hate grants per se, but I hate presenting a book only related with a grant, because I think that somehow this undervalue the book itself. So basically, I'm trying to present the Romanian titles as any other titles I'm co-agenting. And this is why co-agenting is helping us a lot, because we are having a list with a lot of attractive titles, and we can easily put the right Romanian titles in our portfolio without this being something very unusual or something. So this is very important when you have this belief that the Romanian titles are at the same level with the other titles you are presenting. Basically, this will come natural for you to present it in a meeting. Talking about the advance payments and stuff, it's indeed, especially in Europe, it seems that the publishers, the buyers, tend to offer less. But again, it depends on the topic, the title, the graphic, and so on. But
the market as well. The market. You can't ask the French and the Macedonian publisher.
Exactly.
It's a different market.
Because for example, in Asia, the situation is completely different. I mean, I had a lot of good deals there. I mean, with a lot of nice numbers, only because they didn't care about the country. They just care about the value.
Let's just sell to Asia.
Yeah. If you want to hang yourself, please do it, because they are just. I mean, it takes years, literally years, to negotiate, sign, and get it published. I mean, I have titles contracts signed almost 2 or 3 years ago, and the titles are not in the market yet. And they are very chill. Okay, for us it's normal.
You need Asian co-agent.
I have co-agent of co-agents. talking about network. I mean, yeah, you cannot go there directly. It's obviously that we're having friends in the industry, but yeah, this is something very, very nice. I mean, the moment when you basically level up the titles, and you're presenting like any other titles, I think you are on the right path to do it. But again, in Europe, I can confirm that the advances, at least from my point of view, are a little bit lower.
What about our friend Donovic? Did you make him rich?
Not yet, but...
So the advance for him were more or less like the other, or lower than...
Again, it depends on the territory. Of course, in Asia, the advance was significant, let's say.
Yeah. No, I mean, so for each, I'm not referring to compare, like she said, France or Macedonia. I simply refer, if you buy rights from France and you sell a title, the difference in the advance should not be 10 times lower.
I agree, but it is. Sometimes it might be.
You're playing in the same team. Livia has
I think like 85% of the titles that we sold abroad, the Romanian titles that we sold abroad, were sold because there is the chance to get a translation subsidy, and we are lucky to be able to offer each at a Romanian Cultural Institute, and now there's a grant for children books from this year, which is very helpful. There's Traduki for a part of the countries. There is also the European Creative Europe program. It's very frustrating though when you get a few offers, because we promote a grant. Then you should apply. The file has to be sent by this date, etc. And there are several publishers very eager to sign contract for this and that. We try to negotiate, and they understand now more and more that we need higher advances. It's too low to get, I don't know, 200, 400, 500. We try to get to, to convince them to pay 1,000 and at least to get 800. Not very often, but yeah. Yes, but if they don't get the grant, if they don't get the approval, many of them give up.
And they cancel the contract? Or?
Not so many as in the past, but still, we don't. Sometimes we don't. We have a Bulgarian publisher, who pops up every year, and we work a lot, and very rare, almost. I don't think if they got a subsidy, they got approval for a subsidy. It's I will tell you.
Maybe they're on the blacklist. That's what I don't know.
No, but we still offer, we still work, we still sign contracts, and then they disappear, and then they appear again. But no, it's better and better. With the years, it's better and better. But I wanted to tell you about the other, 10-15% of the publishers who buy without being interested to get a subsidy.
This is the real market, basically.
Like, for instance, Nadia Comaneș biography by Stejarel Olaru. The Spanish publisher was not interested, the British publisher was not interested. I don't know about the others, I don't remember, but they would have published the book anyhow. Then there are a couple of others, not many. As Silviu told you, I'm working the same in my file for each meeting at the book fairs or business trips. I insert Romanian or Serbian or Czech authors that I have two among the Western ones. And speaking about co-agenting, I love co-agenting. I started my agency only for co-agenting. Exactly. I haven't dreamt at that time to represent Romania. I didn't know how to do. I didn't read too much Romanian literature at that moment, and it's my income, my personal income. Co-agent. I love, for instance, I love Norwegian literature a lot, Spanish literature, Latin American literature that I represent. So. But here we speak only about our local literature.
Do you think that reading Norwegian authors and Spanish authors helped you start promoting Romanian authors to Spain and Norway?
Yes.
It's about that exchange that we're doing all of the time. I was thinking while Silvia was speaking that actually we didn't mention that when you're selling, when you're promoting your own literature, your local literature, you also have to take into consideration the culturally specific notions of the market you are pitching it to. Because, for example, with the Muslim world, you have some restrictions. It depends on the region. With the Chinese market, you have different restrictions. When it comes to India, you have to take into consideration that there might be a book with the selling price of $1. So the south of India. So here comes the advance payment. What kind of advance payment should I have? $60, $80. I mean,
it depends on the territory.
So it's a lot of multi-level mapping. But what has been very useful for me is the job that we made in the morning is actually very relevant. Creating literary gossip, meaning not gossip. This is not nothing bad, but starting somehow making publishers talk about. Oh, you know, the Bulgarians, they have good titles. Now, I already have publishers from the region or from Northern Europe or from the United States who are coming back to us for the third or fourth title. And they talk among each other. So I published this author, you should also publish it in Greece. So I'm taking it in Spain. Aha, this is a good writer. She's great on stage. She's great with promoting the book. Take her, she'll tour it in Italy. And this is the best. This is half of your job done. Making them talk about the authors and the quality of the book. So
word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth and friendship. We
Right.
started with the challenges, and it was a lot to talk about. I would love to finish with the hopes. What are your hopes for your industry? Hopes and dreams. You can bet.
Of course, the obvious hope is to get more visibility for the authors that you feel are worthy of other people's time and attention. That's the hope. But also, I think that another part of this has to do maybe more generally with growing. Not so much in terms of selling Lithuanian authors to any other countries or all that, but growing within like our own market and regionally. And I mean this, in Lithuania every year we have this huge book fair in February, and it's the biggest book fair in the Baltics. So my hope would be for it to become like a Baltic Frankfurt, a Baltic more welcoming and humane version of it. So that's what I mean when I say that I hope for growth. You know, we keep relying on these big Western fairs, Frankfurt, London, right? And regional publishers usually feel quite overwhelmed there. And I suppose that if the regions would grow and have their own kind of answer to these very machine-like fairs, that would be amazing. So, yeah. And so festivals like this, Nod, is you know, a tiny step towards a very, very right direction. So that's fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Maybe some yes, and I'm thinking maybe some kind of continuity. On the first place, continuity in the national policies. I do hope that I won't be fighting every next year to convince different people that it's very important to have grants, stands. support for translators, support for festivals, because this is so important. What's happening here is so important, and putting together writers, agents, editors, translators, creating that hub is actually making our life so much easier, and also building the literary trust, because I don't believe that we are in a competition. I think we're helping each other all of the time. Regionally, I have friends, agents, we're sending business cards to each other, right? To this guy, he's publishing great short stories in translation there. So it will be great to have continuity. One of my dreams is to have something like a regional organization to help us get more represented in far markets, in more exotic
I already
markets.
told you that I have work for you, right?
Huh?
Oh, okay. Keep going.
Yeah, I know. We are going. I think we are heading in a good direction with our mutual efforts. So yeah. On the other hand, a personal dream is something that Livia mentioned. Maybe a little bit more patience, because this is not fast food industry. We are living in a very high speed. At least that's how I've been feeling after the COVID, the pandemic, and everything is so fast. And sometimes when you expect a publisher and editor to evaluate your proposal, to read a text, let people breathe. I mean, you can't have it all every few weeks and produce new contracts and new and the translators as well. When you have a novel of 600 pages, they need time, and you need an editor, and you need a proofreader. I mean, a little bit of slowing down
that
maybe.
takes time.
To produce some kind of quality content, it takes time, and yeah, maybe slowing it down a little bit.
I don't have hopes. No.
Let's try a dream.
No. I have, let's call it a wishful thinking that the Romanian literary country brand, it's so strong that I'm receiving once per month 2 or 3 offers without myself doing anything, and I'm having at least 2 or 3 huge auctions per year. I mean, with the Romanian author being in fight between the top 3 publishing houses in the country.
That's a dream.
Yeah, that's a dream. It helps. So basically, yeah. After a long period of working on this, to be able to have this kind of results.
Well, I hope that it will come something like to bloom books, to feel a lot of blossom books, and to don't forget that the good book is one sort of memory, and the book doesn't have expiration date. So I'm sure that this is the dream, that this is the hope, and this is the way how to be on you with a book. So that's it.
I hope we'll have peace, and I hope I'll be able to the Romanian international book market will be more and more interested. I'll make them be more and more interested in Romanian literature, and I hope selling Romanian literature will become a big part in my income, so that I can afford just reading Romanian literature and networking at the festivals, and do more and more contracts for Romanian authors, as well as co-agenting, but I hope my agency will be as big as possible, so to be able to co-agent perfectly and to improve our pitching and to convince more and more publishers to buy Romanian authors. And I hope in the quality of the Romanian literature will be better and better with the years, because they will be more and more present internationally through me, through Silviu, through themselves, Ministry of Culture, Romanian Cultural Institute, etc. So first and above all, I hope in peace.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I hope this is just the beginning of a common mission. I hope that you're going to remain open to this dialogue and ready to do things together. I just want to thank again our beautiful, beautiful host here, Radisson Aurumblu. I hope everybody felt great here. Mulțumesc încă o dată și vouă că ați venit. Vă mulțumesc din tot sufletul că sunteți cu noi la începutul ăsta de drum. Și trebuie să mai mulțumesc Aqua Carpatica, trebuie să le mulțumesc voluntarilor de la EON care sunt acolo în spate și care au făcut o treabă absolut minunată, voluntarilor din